News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KBNU.
KBNU News Time is 4:03. I'm Bill Walter with this news update. Law enforcement asking for the public's help in locating a 17-year-old girl last seen in North Logan. Cayenne Alyssa Beard has been missing since Monday night. The North Park Police Department reported Cayenne is 5 feet 1 inches tall, 250 pounds. She has brown hair, green eyes. Police report Cayenne also goes by the last name of Weber. She reportedly left her home around 10 o'clock Monday night. Her phone was left at the residence, and she does not have a vehicle. The investigators believe Cayenne was picked up by an unknown person of interest. She had not given any indication of where she was going. North Park Police Chief Kent Goodrich said based upon their investigation, Cayenne's last known location is in the Salt Lake City area. Detectives are actively working on this case and following up on all leads. Police said Beard may possibly be in danger. They're asking anyone with information about her whereabouts to call 435-753-7600. You can see her picture at cachevalleydaily.com. KBNU News Time is 4:04. KBNU weather for tonight, partly cloudy this evening, then mostly clear. Hazy areas of fog in the overnight hours, low around 20. Partly cloudy, areas of fog in the morning, hazy sunshine, high in the low 30s, sunny, hazy, high around 40 on Sunday. It's been to 35. It's 35 degrees right now at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by the guys at Whole Tree Care. They trim trees all winter. In fact, winter is the best time to trim because visibility is perfect with no leaves. Plus, your trees are dormant, making it easier on your trees. Call 435-760-6587. Cache Valley Media Group each year partners with a local organization called Cares for Christmas to help local families and individuals in need. On KBNU's For the People program on Wednesday, founder and organizer Melissa Franson was our guest. She said this is their 9th year of operation. She talked about how the idea for this started.
I actually had a couple of friends. One really good close friend and neighbor of mine was always the first to volunteer at any function that we were doing, any fundraiser group, to give support or to give service. And they had a couple of really big medical bills hit that year, and they couldn't provide Christmas for their kids. And I knew their 2 little kids really well, and we just started thinking about what we could do. And my husband and I thought we do have access to the radio station, and what a great organization, or what a great thing we could do for the community to find families just like that.
Melissa's husband is Eric Franson of Cache Valley Media Group, whose voice is on the ad promoting the organization and their yearly assistance. You can go to caresforchristmas.org and meet this year's families and see what items they both need and want.
And I will say now, the more we've been established and gone forth, a lot of our families do know that it's coming. We do get the parents involved and ask them for needs and wants. But
that's great.
Even this year, there are several families on our list, on our site, that don't know that it's coming to them.
She said they also work through contacts at the Cache County School District, and they will have teachers, even principals, that request items for families. Items purchased for families need to be dropped off at the reception desk for KBNU and Cache Valley Media Group by 5 p.m. this coming Monday. The address is 810 West, 200 North in Logan. And it's the news skiers and boarders have been waiting to hear. Beaver Mountain is now open for the season as of today. Recent snowstorms have left the ski resort east of Cache Valley with over 3 feet of snow. Cindy Allen, a spokesperson for the resort, confirmed that Beaver Mountain is opening this weekend for the 2023-24 season. Today, lifts have been running exclusively for season pass holders, and then it'll be open to everyone on Saturday. It's been a busy off-season at Beaver Mountain as construction began on a new lodge. The building, which is not expected to be completed until next fall, will include a cafe, a retail ski space, restrooms, and a ski school area that will be separate from the rental shop. A new bathroom has been built at the north end of the resort. Allen said the staff at Beaver Mountain are excited to have all their lifts in operation for the opening weekend. That includes Little Beaver, Harry's Dream, and facelifts from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and the Marge's Triple Lift from 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The Big and Little Easy surface lifts will also be running. KVNU News Time is 4:08. For more details on these and other stories, visit CacheValleyDaily.com.
Your station for the Aggies. News Talk KVNU, 102 FM, 610 AM. And on Alexa, Google, online, or the KVNU mobile app.
Is shopping for medical supplies online leaving you feeling intimidated and overwhelmed? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. I want to share a real customer story with you.
The moment I walked into Alpine, I felt cared for. They pulled me into a private room, and the Alpine professional happily set up my CPAP machine, explaining everything I needed to know. The service didn't stop there. After I went home, Alpine called me a week later just to check on me. These guys really are the experts. Before Alpine, I was so stressed trying to navigate what I needed online by myself, but all the stress went away when I went to their store. They really do deserve 5 stars.
We know when you walk through our doors, you deserve to be cared for. Stop by any of our 11 locations and discover the Alpine Home Medical difference. When you need assistance, we're here for you.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
AlpineHomeMedical.com.
Hello, Cache Valley. This is Tom Hale at Blue Sky Restoration, formerly ARS. Remember, got a mess? Call ARS. We want to let you know that here at Blue Sky, we still have the same great staff, we provide the same excellent service, and are ready to help you in your time of need with water mitigation, mold remediation, or a fire. Thank you for trusting our staff and myself for over 35 years with your disaster needs, and we will continue to be here for you. From Blue Sky Restoration to you and yours, we wish you the safest and happiest holidays.
Put something extra special under your tree this holiday season. New flooring from Hart Floor Company. That's right, give yourself the gift of beautiful new hardwood, carpet, laminate, or LVT flooring. Now is the best time to select that perfect style for your home and schedule installation to enjoy the holiday season with an all-new look and feel. From Hart Floor Company, 390 North, 10th West in Logan.
Your home is where heart should be. Hart Floor Company.
Merry Christmas from our family to yours.
'Tis the season at Murdoch GMC Chevrolet Cadillac. Unwrap incredible savings during the most wonderful buy of the year. But you have to hurry.
These deals are going faster than Santa's reindeer.
Receive the gift of up to $10,000 off a new Sierra 1500.
When you walk through our doors, you feel like family.
At Murdoch Chevrolet GMC Cadillac in Logan or online at MurdochChevroletLogan.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
Call 866-628-3065 to see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 1/2/24.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cache Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have 2 guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. Friday, December 15th. I'm Jason Williams. Halfway point on December. Just over a week until days get longer. See how optimistic I am? It's actually like 11, 12 days, but I'm going with just over a week.
Sun will set at 9 p.m.
That's right.
Well, not for a while.
We start adding that, what is it, like 32, 33 seconds a day, I think is how it starts to build back up.
I think initially we have a longer, the sun rises a little bit earlier in the morning, I think initially is kind of how it plays out.
Yeah.
And then starts to, set later.
Yeah, that's the day I look forward to. These short days get old quickly.
But I have a newfound appreciation after being in Portland, northwestern Oregon last week. 4:50 or last month, that is. 4:15 is when the sun went down. So I would imagine now, this late, this close to the equinox, it's probably like 4:05 or something that the sun is setting out there.
That's it's and I shouldn't complain. It's better than what happens. I had a friend who lived in actually some northernmost areas of Canada, and said, "Don't eat." I said something about short winter days, and he said, "Don't even."
Yeah,
they get like 4-hour days up there. So yeah,
where the sun maybe comes up a little bit on the horizon, but doesn't really. And that's about all.
It gets. They get twilight for 4 hours, and then
a sliver.
Yeah,
sun sliver at noon.
Oh, take your pick here. I guess it is a day of days. I didn't know that this was. So it is National Underdog Day. I'm not really sure, how you celebrate that one. It is National Ugly Christmas Sweater Day. This is actually, I don't know that we can say this is officially a thing, but people, for whatever reason, decided the third Friday in December would be National Ugly Christmas Sweater Day. And so post your ugly Christmas sweater pics to social media. It's also National Wear Your Pearls Day, National International Tea Day. This is a day to
drink some tea.
Drink some tea, celebrate tea, make your fanciest tea. The hashtag for that basically is celebrate tea every day. I think I'm starting to think some of these might be scams. This one's not a scam though, or at least I choose not to believe so. And go treat yourself. Well, two of them here. It is National Cupcake Day. I could get behind that one.
There you go.
Go get yourself a cupcake. It is.
Does a Hostess cupcake at the store, does that count?
Sure. If it says cupcake on it, I think it counts.
Right. Yeah.
And now this isn't really a thing. This isn't really a thing in the United States so much, but it is an actual thing in Ireland, Scotland, and parts of the UK, parts of Russia. It's National Cat Herders Day. If you didn't know,
that's a saying. It's like herding cats. I think you've used that.
Yeah, this is what I say when I'm trying to organize candidates ahead of an election deadline. But no, this is an actual thing. This is an actual job that still is practiced, but at one time was really kind of an important job due to... so obviously celebrating this is hard. If you don't have 100 cats, you can't go herd cats.
You need 100.
That's right. But you can talk about it. And this is actually attributed to two very specific people. Thomas and Ruth Roy, who started a business called Wellcat. This is these are retired veterinarians who ended up getting married, and they started Wellcat to help people who have cats that are indoors all the time, and so that they can have better health. And they started Wellcat, I think, 40 years ago. And so they get the attribution with creating and first celebrating Cat Herders Day. But the cat herding profession actually goes back 200 years. And the reason for that is there were certain areas of the world, beginning in the Middle East, where feral cat populations would get so out of hand that they would round them up and treat them for various diseases, so they would quit spreading them.
That's what they do in Turkey, for one. When we were there last April, they take care of the cats, and they all the cats, I think, are fixed. And
they spay and neuter them now. And they keep them feral. The reason for
they
this,
love their cats there.
There was a time. This is interesting, and we're going way back to bubonic plague days here. But there was a time when remember during the pandemic, Bear River Health Department would put out these health advisories and keep us updated on the spread of COVID and the coming vaccines and all that. And that's what we expect from our health departments, right? These experts who can inform us and keep us healthy and safe especially during a crisis like a pandemic. But generally, health departments are just putting out advice on air quality here in Cache Valley. Some tips on getting outside and getting more exercise on the Bear River Health Department website right now, things like that. Back in the day, way back in the day, bubonic plague days, this was actually something that now there weren't health departments at the time, but there were health ministers, and these health ministers actually recommended increasing the cat population in neighborhoods because cats would eat mice and rats, which, of course, was how they weren't sure of it at the time, but there was some scientific evidence later confirmed, after the fact, unfortunately. But there was some evidence and some suspicion that the plethora of rats in most urban centers was helping to spread disease. And scientists were saying, look, we've confirmed that disease can spread from rats to humans. We've done it in the lab. But there wasn't an FDA or a National Health Institute or anything to kind of peer review their work. So it was just word of mouth. And so they would actually encourage feral cat populations because cats didn't carry at least as many diseases that can transfer to humans. You can get a nasty case of ringworm from a cat, though. And you can't get the flu from a cat.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know that. The cat can actually, even if they are not affected by the flu virus, they can carry it to you and pass it on to a human, but it doesn't hurt them.
So if a cat sneezes in front of you, hand them a Kleenex.
Yeah.
Just say, please use this.
Yeah, don't give me that. But it is, but that is rare, by the way, but it can happen. But yeah, so there was a time when they encouraged increasing cat populations in urban centers in Europe, various parts of Europe, the Middle East. They would. You mentioned Turkey. Turkey was, a place where this happened. They said, we need more cats. We need more cats to eat the mice and rats because the mice and rats are spreading disease.
Mice, and I don't know about rats, but mice over there don't stand a chance.
That's right.
There are so many cats.
If you've traveled to European countries, it's far more common to see cats, feral cats, just kind of sitting on street corners or on a curb somewhere.
I saw one just on the beach right there in Alanya, Turkey, right along the Mediterranean, just sitting on a bench near the sea, and just with its eyes closed and just looking as serene as can be.
That's it's not common here. Obviously, we tend to consider feral cat populations a nuisance, which there's some evidence we shouldn't. Counties in Utah have done spay and neuter and release programs before where, for either a reduced cost or even free, you can trap in a live trap feral cats, bring them into a vet, have them spayed and neutered. The state will pay for it. Well, the county pays for it through with state money, and then you go back and release the cat. The idea behind this is that a feral cat is territorial, and you spay and neuter them. You're not contributing to the feral cat population. You're actually, by bringing that feral cat back, you're decreasing the feral cat population, keeping it in check, basically, because that cat will still patrol its territory, but it's not able to reproduce. It's been spayed or neutered. And so this is a thing in the U.S., just not like it is in Europe, where you'll see feral cats just everywhere throughout cities still, and parts of the Middle East. And there were these people who were paid, oftentimes, similar to an employee of a city or a county today. They were paid by whatever government entities existed, and they were known as cat herders. And they had tricks and special ways of gathering at least as close to all the cats in a city as they could, herding them, which is possible. I guess.
I guess you wouldn't use sheepdogs.
No, they would.
That might not go so
wouldn't
well.
go so well. No, with cats you had to tempt them apparently, but they were really good at this.
A little bit of catnip.
And they would, and this is also where some of the myth of cats and their curiosity comes from, because cat herders would oftentimes use that curiosity, a little tin whistle or something like that would sometimes get a cat's attention. They come to check it out. And then they would corral them like you would have heard of cattle or sheep. And they would treat them for various things, fleas and things like that. Anyway, and then re-release them into the city. And so, yeah, cat herding, you've heard the phrase, this is like herding cats. That actually comes from an actual job that exists. And still today, Cat Herders Day is celebrated, at least in Ireland and Scotland. So
sounds like a real skill. I hope they're compensated quite well for that.
I can't imagine that job. I think that would be a horrible job. But I guess if you get good at it, and I would assume it pays well, and it's got to be easy. And plus, you only work one day a month, something like that.
There's horse whisperers. Why not cat?
Yeah, why
whisperers?
not cat herders? Bring this one back. Let's make this a viable industry again. But yeah, so it's International Cat Herders Day, and there you have it. Some historical trivia for you that this was actually once a job in many countries, and still is today in a lot of European and Middle Eastern countries. Where they now, of course, today they don't call them cat herders; they're animal control or something like that. But they still do this. They round up feral cats, inoculate them, treat them for various diseases cats can get, and then take them back to where they picked them up. Less herding, more collecting, I think, today. But cat herders were that was a very popular profession at one time.
Hello.
That's right. That's a little audio of an actual cat herder there we've got in our banks.
That could be.
And then finally, for your On This Day trivia, history buffs talking about this left and right on a couple of different hashtags on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter that I've linked to on our Facebook page if you want some more history on this. But this day, December 15th, it's celebrated, but unfortunately not really celebrated because many people don't know this. But on this day in 1791, the states ratified the Bill of Rights. Virginia becomes the 10th state to ratify the Bill of Rights, agreeing to 10 of the 12 amendments. That's an interesting story in and of itself. And at that point, the necessary majority was created for the Bill of Rights to be officially ratified and passed. So there you have it. We'll be back with more of For the People right after this.
This is Dr. Paul Daines at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. This time of year is filled with wonderful sounds, from music and family parties to an I love you from a grandchild. Don't miss any of these special moments. Let us help you or a loved one with a plan to improve your quality of life through better hearing. Visit us at 485 North Main Street in Logan or call to make an appointment at 753-4327. That's 753-HEAR or find us at cachehearing.com.
Need some last-minute gift ideas? Pick up a copy of the Best of Northern Utah magazine. There you'll find all the businesses in our community who were voted the very best in their category. Best place to buy a gift, boutique stores, jewelry, power tools, clothing, dining, and more. There's something for everyone on your list. Go to bestofnorthernutah.com for magazine pickup locations. And please, support local business first this holiday season.
If your saving for retirement approach involves the phrase, "I'll get around to it someday," Edward Jones can help. When it comes to meeting your goals, time can be on your side. And there's no better time than now to get started toward your retirement goals. Edward Jones Financial Advisors can help. Stop by one of the 7 Edward Jones offices in Cache Valley. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Thank you. U&I Furniture wants to say thank you to all of their friends and customers. U&I Furniture is grateful to be a family business, now in their 5th generation. For over 90 years, they've always offered a good product at a good price. And that's why they say you'll always find a better buy at U&I. Stop by and see them this holiday season with lots of store-wide specials and great bargains. Purchase any sofa or sectional, and U&I says thank you with $100 off on any chair to go with it. U&I Furniture in downtown Logan.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. One last bit of random news. Bill, you actually found this story. This is cool. And by the way, this is something you can do, although understandably you might not want to go to the extent that this man did.
That's kind of a lot.
Yeah, this is but a heartwarming story. A Colorado man who lost his dog, a 12-year-old dog, to a car accident. The dog was hit by a car. And to deal with his grief, he started adopting old dogs from rescues. This is a very sad thing that happens at rescues, where someone, oftentimes the most common scenario I hear about, at least from folks at Cash Humane Society, is someone passes away, and their family, for whatever reason, decides to surrender the pet to a shelter rather than find a home for it within the family.
Yeah.
And oftentimes these are pets that are 12, 13, 14. They have 4 or 5 years left at most. In most cases, some dogs do live to 18.
If they're big dogs, probably not. Maybe a couple years.
Yeah, big dogs maybe 2-3 years at best. And so understandably, they're not very popular in adoption events. And so what happens tragically is they often are either euthanized or best case scenario for a lot of them, live out the rest of their lives in a small cage at a shelter. And it's heartbreaking to think about that. But most shelters do an adoption program where you can actually adopt these senior animals, and you give them a last few good years. And this man decided to deal with the grief of losing his own dog that way. And how many, Bill, is this?
It says 3 dozen.
3 dozen. This guy deserves some sort of medal of honor.
Yeah, let's see. It says dozens of dogs. Where did I see 3? I thought I saw 3 somewhere with this story. So that'd be like 36 dogs.
That is, yeah. And honestly,
let's see, at present,
and not all at once, of course.
Yeah, okay, because it says at present he has 11.
Yeah.
So I guess it's
that's still a lot, though.
I guess when some of the dogs, the older dogs pass away, he'll go get some more.
Yeah, that is. And he said he did this. I love this quote from him. He says, in a way, I wanted to give Wolfgang's death a purpose. He was so attached to this dog. So he says, Wolfgang died, but another dog got to live because of that, because he went to the shelter and adopted this senior dog that was otherwise going to be euthanized just because it was not likely he would ever be adopted at age 13. So he kept doing this. And now has since 2012 has had dozens of different senior dogs, these older dogs.
And not only that, it says here in the story he's also rescued a 13-year-old pig named Bikini, 4 chickens, 2 rabbits, 1 duck, and a turkey.
Oh, man. That is a cool story. And there's a picture of him here with, I assume, some of his current 11 senior dogs. This is a really cool story with some cool photos, and I've linked to it on our Facebook page. But if you ever can do this, if you find yourself in a position where you can do this, I guarantee any shelter you contact has at least one, maybe more, senior dogs who don't have a bright future. They have several good years left, but being older, they're not very likely to be adopted by the traditional adopting crowd. And so oftentimes they're euthanized first before any others, or they sadly live out the rest of their lives. And the reason it always breaks my heart is these are dogs that had a home for 10, 11, 12 years.
And probably
then just
were greatly appreciated.
Yeah. And one day they suddenly don't live there with their person anymore, and they don't understand.
Has died or gone into a facility and
they don't understand that their person is couldn't keep them for some reason. It has to be a very sad and confusing situation for them. So if you can give them a good home, please do. We'll be back with more For the People after these headlines. Right after this, with Bill Walter. It's Friday.
It is Friday. And it is 4:32 now at KVNU. The defense team for a man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students has been given access to the off-campus home where the deaths occurred. And so lawyers can gather photos, do measurements, and other documentation before that house in Moscow is demolished. Brian Koberger is charged with 4 counts of murder in connection with the deaths last November, a year ago, at the rental house near the university campus. A judge entered a not guilty plea on Koberger's behalf earlier this year. The home was given to the university earlier this year, and officials announced Thursday that they plan to begin demolition on December 28th. Colin Sexton scored 27 points. Simone Fontecchio had 24, and the Utah Jazz beat the struggling Portland Trail Blazers in Portland last night, 122-114. KBNU News Time is 4:33.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. A jury in Washington awarded $148 million in damages to 2 former Atlanta election workers who sued Rudy Giuliani for defamation over lies he spread about them in 2020 that upended their lives with racist threats and harassment. At the courthouse, ABC's Terry Moran.
In the courtroom, there was surprise at their table. Their lawyers and themselves, they looked around when they heard that $75 million in punitive damages, and there were smiles, but really shock.
Giuliani says he hopes for a better decision for him on appeal. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has ordered the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier and 1 other warship to remain in the Mediterranean Sea for several more weeks near Israel, say U.S. officials. Friend star Matthew Perry died from high amounts of the anesthetic ketamine, which is also used to treat depression, according to the autopsy report from the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner. Wall Street closing out its longest weekly winning streak in 6 years. This is ABC News.
KBNU weather for tonight, mostly clear, hazy areas of fog, low near 20. And then tomorrow, some sunshine, but haze and fog also in the forecast, especially early on Saturday, high in the low 30s. And then mostly clear, down around 15 Saturday night, Sunday morning. Sunny, hazy, around 40 on Sunday. And this afternoon, I think that temperature is still held as the high. 35 has been the high. Right now it is 33 degrees at KBNU. Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology is there for you to bring back the sounds you've been missing. Schedule a free hearing evaluation with Dr. Paul Daines at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology. You can always get more news at CacheValleyDaily.com. Let's get the numbers on Wall Street now from Edward Jones.
This is Branch Office Administrator Whitney Heyer bringing you the daily financial market report on behalf of financial advisor Mike Arnold and Edward Jones. Stocks closed out a strong week. U.S. equities were little changed on Friday, capping off a solid gain for the week and bringing the S&P 500's weekly winning streak to 7. Small caps have been the particular standout, rising more than 5% on the week and roughly 11% so far in December. This leadership has been driven by a more optimistic outlook for the economy as markets eye less restrictive Fed policy ahead. Sector performance today is reflecting a balanced tone with mixed leadership among cyclical and defensive industries. Today, the Dow closed up 61 points at 37,309. The Nasdaq closed up 52 points at 14,814. The S&P 500 closed flat at 4,719. And in the bond market, 10-year Treasury yields are trading at 3.91%. The price of crude oil was flat at $71.66, and the spot price of gold was down $11.10 to $2,033.80. In stocks of local interest, Autoliv was down $2.34 at 103.33. Chevron was down 66 cents at 149.27. Dominion Energy was down 68 cents at 48.48. Home Depot was up $2.19 at 354. Kroger was up 52 cents at 44.11. Lowe's was up 5 cents at 225.59. McDonald's was down $2.75 at 287.27. Microsoft was up $4.80 at 370.73. Nucor was up $1.97 at 172.82. Philip Morris was down 21 cents at 94.46. And Walmart finished up 57 cents at 152.74. This has been today's Financial Market Report, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, member SIPC, and financial advisor Mike Arnold, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice at 135 North Main, Suite 102 in downtown Logan. If you'd like additional information, please contact our branch office at 435-753-2915.
Anderson Seed and Gardens Before Christmas Blowout event is underway. Save 25 to 40% off select Christmas items in stock. 25% off trees, wreaths, garlands, tabletops, wall decor, and much more. 40% off floral picks, ornaments, and ribbon. All sales are final. It may be winter, but it's never a bad time to learn about gardening. Sign up for their weekly gardening class, which starts January 27. $40 a person or $60 for two. See store for details. Come see what's new at Anderson Seed and Garden.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Trains and murder houses. Two stories here. This is a story out of Moscow, Idaho that caught my eye. I don't know what comes of this, but I don't know what avenues there might be to change the direction where things are headed. But it appears that despite a trial date not having yet been set for Brian Koberger, who is charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of 4 students at the University of Idaho there in Moscow. And no trial date has been set. He is pleading guilty to those charges, or not guilty to those charges. As this has been playing out, and this isn't detailed in the story out of a local news agency there in Moscow, but the university, it appears, has obtained ownership of the home where this happened. This is a house near campus that was turned into a 4-bedroom student housing location, basically. But it is originally a large family-sized home.
It's one, yeah. I mean, it's. I don't know if realtors have a term for a house like that, where something heinous, something horrible happened.
That's where this controversy comes in, because the university bought it because obviously they understood that. They understood that the owner was not going to be able to sell it otherwise. And so the university, recognizing the value of property that close to campus, they bought it. They're not going to lose money buying that. So they bought it and have sat on it, since, all this happened, basically. I don't know when they bought it. But
earlier this year.
Was it early? Yeah, this year?
Yeah,
okay.
Maybe in the spring or something.
And so the university plans to demolish the home in 15 days. No, I'm sorry. They're going to start in a week. That's the plan. And as you said, Bill, it makes sense, right? No one is going to want to live there. Developers weren't interested in buying the property as is, but if they demolish the house, it would probably be pretty easy for the university to offload, even at a profit, at the very least not a loss, the property if the house is gone. So the university plans to demolish the home over the Christmas break, which begins in just a few days there. And there is opposition to this. Which surprised me, actually. When I first saw the headline, I thought, who would be opposed? So here's the story. The family of the attorney of one of the victims' families, the Conclave family, Sharon Gray was the attorney's name. She released a statement last week when the date was announced for the demolition of the home officially. And the statement read this: "Let us ask this. Is it better to have the King Road house, the location of these alleged murders, and not need it, than to need the house and not have it?" That has been our question to the prosecution in the University of Idaho for the entire time The demo of the King Road house has been an issue and is a concern for prosecution.
Because what if, the case is decided and let's say it goes against Koberger, which a lot of people, kind of expect, but
sure.
In the appeal process, there's no more house.
Yeah, and so the argument is, look, this is still evidence in an ongoing investigation and pending trial in which there's not even been a trial date set yet. Koberger, of course, is in custody and will remain there until the trial date, so there's no risk there of losing the accused. But something could come up, and there may be evidence that needs to be redocumented. There may be something that needs to be explored by defense or prosecution, which is everyone's right to be able to do, that involves going back and recreating certain things at the very location of the murders. So the Conclave's family attorney, Shannon Gray, in this statement said, this is one of the most horrific crimes in the history of Idaho, and the University of Idaho wants to destroy a critical piece of evidence in the case with a financial concern driving their rush. It's also important to make note that there is now a demolition date before a trial date has even been set by the courts. This alone speaks volumes. That's the entire story. It's not included in this story. Whether that statement is enough to change anything. The school president, Scott Green, said this house is a grim reminder of the heinous act that took place here. While we appreciate the emotional connection some family members of the victims may have to this house, it is time for removal and to allow the collective healing of our community to continue. The implication there is that students, even those living off campus or near campus, this has been a source of anxiety for them, this house. It does happen to be located in an area apparently where a lot of students walk by every day. So I can understand that. But you really do have to be sympathetic to the family attorney, the statement from the family attorney for one of the victims' families, the Conclave's family, because this is evidence. This is a key piece, they say critical piece of evidence in a murder trial, and there's a date set for demolishing this piece of evidence before a trial date has even been set. And murder trials can be lengthy. Evidence can be lost or destroyed on accident and need to be recollected. Personally, I think until there's a trial date and the trial is played out, I do agree with the family attorney here that the university might have a responsibility to as horrible as it might be for the community and the students to see this house every day. I think they may have a responsibility to actually let the house stand until the trial plays out. Again, no word. I did some digging to see if there was additional reporting on this, and I can only find stories with these same details in them. So no one's saying whether some sort of review or reconsideration of the demolition next week has been considered by the university. The statements I found from the university president implied no, that they're moving ahead with this despite the family attorney's request that they do not demolish the home. But yeah, I get it. This is costing the university and therefore taxpayers money at this point. I think it was right of the university to purchase the home and the land. Because the owner the previous owner was not going to be in a very good situation. And the university, of course, did so. They aren't taking a risk with taxpayer money buying this because of its location. If you demolish this house, there's going to be no problem developing this property into something else and maybe even at a profit for the university. So they're not going to lose out even if they sit on it longer. I think it was a smart idea of them to buy it. But I kind of agree with the family attorney. I think, it may not come up, and maybe there's more. Maybe defense and prosecution have both said, look, we all have copies of the evidence. We've got everything we need. We don't believe there's anything that could pop up that would require us to have to go back into that home and recreate a scenario, redocument evidence, photograph some things. But evidence can be lost. And murder trials are lengthy enough. The odds do increase of evidence being lost or being destroyed. Or there was years ago, there was a year-long murder trial in which some key evidence was lost in a building fire, and due diligence to make copies had not been made. And someone who was likely guilty ended up walking. It's rare, unlikely to happen. I know steps are taken to prevent this very thing. But I would say just in case, maybe let the house sit for the time being, at least until you have a trial date maybe. But I would say until the trial has concluded. On the flip side, as you mentioned, Bill, there's lengthy appeals processes. So when do you call it?
Yeah.
So I get that too. But I don't know. I would be uncomfortable if it were up to me to make the decision on whether or not this house is demoed next week. If I were the university president or the board or whoever made this decision and I had to make the call, I would be hesitant to make the call to tear this home down until the trial was concluded, at least. Maybe not keep it through all the appeals that are going to come up, but I would keep it through that original trial. But university plans to tear it down next week. The location, the home where 4 students were living in Moscow, Idaho, where this atrocious crime was committed. And again, Brian Koberger, charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, currently in custody, but plans to plead not guilty to those charges. And no trial date yet set, but the university has set a day next week to begin demolition of what the one of the family's attorneys says is a key piece of evidence in this upcoming murder trial. What do you think? Should they tear it down? Should they keep it? And if they are going to keep it, for how long? I say at least through the original trial, maybe not through all the appeals. What do you think? 753-5868. We'll be back right after this.
Get prepared for the winter season with limited time offers on new John Deere compact utility tractor. At Stokes Equipment, your local John Deere dealer. They have 1 to 4 series compact utility tractors equipped with raw strength and easy to use implements to get the job done. With a wide range of models available, you're sure to find a suitable machine to meet all your winter needs. Small tractor with a big impact. Stokes Equipment, 451 West 8th North in Preston. Visit the store or check them out online at stokesequipment.com.
Intermountain Budge ENT Clinic has an experienced and caring team of physicians and staff to assist you with all of your ear, nose, and throat concerns, including head and neck surgery. Doctors Kaiser and Wilson and their staff at Intermountain Budge ENT Clinic will work together to provide excellent care and support throughout the entire surgery process, from your pre-op visit to your full recovery. And they accept all insurance. For more information about Doctors Kaiser or Wilson, search Budge Clinic ENT or call 435-716-1420. Local care with Intermountain expertise.
The gift department at S.E. Needham Jewelers has something wonderful for the special people on your Christmas list. When you want a cherished keepsake that will be kept for generations, S.E. Needham's is the place. Choose visually stunning Yadro figurines, the gorgeous tone of European music boxes, elegant home decor, and much more. In a world where many gifts are eventually broken, outdated, and thrown away, choose a gift with lasting meaning. For the people and occasions that matter most, visit S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block at the sign of the clock.
Maple Creek Ranch is excited to announce they just finished the asphalt on all the roads. So come drive the smooth roads and see what this piece of paradise is all about, which is now in its 4th and final phase of development. If you've always dreamed of living in the mountains, Maple Creek Ranch is for you. Surrounded by miles of wilderness, babbling brooks, horse riding, and hiking trails, with 2.5-acre lots to build your dream home. Learn more at maplecreekranch.net or hop in the car and come see it for yourself, just east of Franklin, Idaho.
I said this last week, and it turns out that Megaplex was just toying with me. I don't know what was happening last week, but ahead of the movie show, I always go in. Andy always sees the latest and a couple of extras, and I always go in, if I haven't talked to him yet, to see what's premiering, and I know that's what he saw through the press screenings. And according to the Megaplex site, last Friday, Wonka was starting. It didn't actually start until today, the 15th. but it was there on the site. You didn't realize there was an error until you tried to buy tickets, at which point it would tell you, you can't. This movie isn't playing yet, but it was listed as now playing. So if I was fooled, and then I misinformed everyone until Andy got here and corrected me because he'd noticed the error on the Megaplex site as well. This week, no fooling. It is actually in theaters, so the movie show will be talking Wonka and kind of an art housey. Well, I don't know if art house is the word for it, but we're going to be talking about Bradley Cooper's Maestro. This is getting some real buzz from both audiences and critics. Andy saw it, and he has quite a bit to say about it, so that's coming up in the For the People movie show. Bill, I was so angry about this, but I recognize I may be just in a small minority of people who care. I think everyone should care because I think even if it doesn't seem like it would appeal to you right now, I guarantee there's a day coming soon when you'd be really glad that it existed, when our population has hit that 66% increase that's projected by 2035 here in Cache Valley and near double in other parts of Utah.
Hello, skyscrapers.
Well, this is more of a traffic thing, and so I think it's in this case it would be hello crawling freeways, and UDOT has added every pointless additional lane they can, which relates to this story. And the story is basically Utah getting snubbed for a request, a proposal that was submitted to the Federal Rail Administration through something called the Corridor Identification and Development Program. This program has existed forever, but it was recently beefed up by the 2021 bipartisan infrastructure law. The infrastructure law was a campaign promise of President Biden, and it did actually end up getting the support of Senator Mitt Romney here in Utah, mainly because he worked on it quite a bit in the Senate. He jumped right in because he said, despite the fact that this would be something that Biden could put in his belt as a win, Romney said, that aside, Utah has some great infrastructure needs, and he wanted to make sure that the bill included them. So he jumped in, and it's good he did, because Utah almost immediately got some bridge money, what we really needed, and some, of course, road money that UDOT's now using to add lanes to the freeway, despite the fact that everyone is trying to tell them this does not actually reduce congestion. It reduces congestion for about a year, and then more cars come because there's more space. California, you always hear Utah lawmakers say, we don't want to be like California. When it comes to our highways and freeways, we're just copying California, and California already learned from these mistakes. We could be learning from their learning and saving ourselves a lot of money and time. UDOT hasn't woken up to this yet, so we're still adding lanes to the freeway. And again, California tried that through the 70s and 80s and then finally said, this doesn't seem to be working to reduce traffic. It's good. It's better for about a year, and then it gets worse than it was before the additional lane. Well, there's a reason for that, and it's called
kind of like
human behavior.
The premise, if you build it, they will come.
Literally. So you add the lane, traffic is improved, or gets around that traffic is improved, and within a year, you have even more traffic on the freeway than you did before you added the lane, and it's congested again. It is the most, it just boggles me. UDOT, though, just sold on this still. It's beyond comprehension. And unfortunately, because of that, because the reason given for the denial on this passenger rail proposal that Utah lawmakers are on board with, several Utah communities and the Utah Rail Passengers Association were fully behind this. Idaho was behind this, and it died because, the reason given was lack of enthusiasm from Utah leaders. But the translation, I think, is UDOT has no vision. They said basically, sure, great. If you give us the money, we'll do some research and we'll get started on that. And of course, the decision makers at the federal level said, well, that doesn't sound like you're very excited or committed or going to be careful with this money. So we'll give it to another state that's a little more down the road on this project.
They wanted They wanted some excitement shown.
Yeah, they wanted to be able to. They wanted the states to come and say, "Here's our proposal. Here are the details around it. Here's how it will improve congestion on the freeways. Here's how it will reduce pollution in the air. Here's how it will increase ridership of everything from buses in metropolitan areas to light rail in some of the more satellite communities and even urban areas one day." That's what they wanted to hear. Idaho came to them with that. Idaho was prepared. Utah, UDOT, showed up and said, yeah, sure. We wouldn't oppose that. And it killed the entire proposal. What was right? I'm so disappointed with UDOT's approach to this. What the proposal was, too, and the reason Idaho was excited about the proposal and got on board, well, actually, Idaho proposed it first, and then Utah got on board with Idaho. So UDOT didn't even have that vision to propose it in the first place, was a Boise to Salt Lake passenger rail line. Most of the infrastructure for this already exists, but it would have to be reinforced in some places, built up in some places, updated in some other places. There would be significant costs to this. The funding through the bipartisan infrastructure law was there, and they were offering it. In addition to a Boise to Salt Lake passenger rail line, there was going to be the beginning of an exploration into a Salt Lake to St. George and Las Vegas passenger rail line. Now, two things about this. One, trains are cool. Three things. Trains are cool. That's the first thing. Second thing, the cost of a ticket to ride a high-speed train, which in most cases is going to travel faster than you can in a car on the freeway, from Salt Lake to Boise or from Salt Lake to St. George or even from Salt Lake to Las Vegas, is going to be a third of what you'd pay for, even if you could, a flight to Boise one day, maybe from Logan, maybe. But it's going to be a third of that cost. It's going to be about a half of what you'd pay in gas round trip. And you don't have to drive. You can
nap.
You nap. They'll drop you. There are shuttles from the train station to hotels. If you're going up there for, say, a bowl game